A very good evening and welcome to the live lounge here in Portsmouth for the Week 7 finals of Series 4 here at the MODUS Super Series. By the end of proceedings tonight, we would have crossed the halfway point in confirming our Champions Week field here on the South Coast. Joining me this evening to talk through all the action, it is Matthew Edgar and Paul Nicholson. And Matt, what a week we've enjoyed so far.
I believe the week always starts the week prior when we see the lineup come out and we see the names on the paper, and you can pick through this one and see how well people are doing on the Challenge Tour, all those titles they've been picking up and the reputations that they are bringing here. They have played up to those reputations and shown us that there's plenty more good years ahead.
Well, Paul, you were with us for Group A, and what a group it was as well. That was our focus on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and it was a group won by Andy Bolton and won by Andy Bolton in some style.
Yeah, just a bit. I think if you look at the way that he was chased down by Sebastian Białecki, I think Andy will feel very proud of his efforts over the first 3 days, because it was a huge leg difference that he amassed, huge points total, but ultimately he still had a lot of work to do towards the end of Group A, and coming into tonight he will feel very good about his chances. But Białecki, 24 points and not winning the group, that's rare.
That is very rare, and when you look at Group A, he'll think most other weeks I probably would have won that.
Well, last week we had a 20-point group, and normally 24 points, I would say, is more than enough. It means he's only lost 3 matches because there's only 30 points available. So it just shows how the top two really dominated that Group A.
Well, Andy Bolton, Paul, pulled out some big finishes out of the fire. Well, he was the 109 man, really, wasn't he, in the group? He checked it out 3 times in the week. But it wasn't just the fact that he checked it out 3 times. It was he did it in big clutch moments.
He did. He didn't at every single point play his best darts. In fact, he was struggling with a little bit of shoulder soreness towards the end of the group. But early on in Monday and on Tuesday, he wasn't playing his best stuff, but was finding the right kind of shot. The 109 just kept cropping up, and when he hit a 109 to win a match, it just told us that maybe he was too hard to topple.
Well, that was Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and obviously the players who didn't finish top of the group were then divvied up in the groups B and C respectively. We'll begin with Group B because that was our focus on Thursday and Friday evening, and it was a group that was won in the end by Alexander Merckx, and at a time it looked like things really was going to get tight and tense, but it was done with a few rounds of matches to go. Stefan Belmont, Matt, got out the traps flying, won all 4 games on his opening night, and really it was that form that got him into today.
I'd question if he was flying, because actually he relied on opportunities coming his way. He took every single one of them. That's the game of darts. This isn't a race to see who can get down to a double first. It's who can take the double first. Stefan Belmont did that, but he relied on a lot of misses and a lot of opportunities to come his way. And I think he didn't get that same sort of look, shall we say, on the second day. And at one point it looked like he could even drop out of proceedings, but he did dig deep at the end and shown why he picked up those big titles last year.
Well, Alexander Merckx was the group winner in the end, Paul, and again, he just has this thing about this Super Series format where he just keeps finding ways of qualifying for Saturday night.
Seems to dig this place, doesn't he? And I think coming into this week he will feel very chipper, because he won a team event with his country and some great other MODUS Super Series players about a week ago. Coming into this, he has played really well. His win percentage is high for the week, and winning the group will fluff his confidence even more. He was the first person through the door tonight. He was here even before we were, so he's really eager to get going, and you can't discount him because he's the only person who has won here on a Saturday night.
As for Sebastian Białecki, there seems to be no wavering in terms of his performances, is there?
That's not just here, that's everywhere. That's Sebastian Białecki. He's got such a solid, consistent, reliable throw, and he makes it work for him. And we was talking on commentary last night about what is it that's going to move him forward, or where is his ceiling. I think he's going to be one of these good, solid professionals that has a very good career with plenty of longevity, but I don't see him being quite as explosive at the moment as maybe some of the other youngsters we see coming through, like a Luke Littler.
Well, Group C was our centre of attention on Thursday and Friday afternoon. Scott Mitchell and James Hull were the 2 heavy favourites to go on and get through to the finals, and that proved to be the case in the end. Scott Mitchell turned out to be the 4th favourite at the start of the Friday, the second day to go on and win the group, and, well, he proved the bookies right.
He did, and I think if you look at what happened to him on Thursday, he didn't let it get him down. He wasn't in a position to possibly strike in an easy way, But the way that the fixtures worked out for him and the way he was able to just stay in the reckoning, and then one game left, he had to get out there and get it done. He got it done, ultimately wins the group, gives you a hug at the end, and he was so pleased with his efforts. I think maybe a little bit of pressure's been lifted for Scott now, but don't underestimate just how well he played, and James Hurrell as well.
Yeah, don't get any ideas about the hugging thing, will you? Anyway, let's have a look at some of his highlights from the week. This is his 1-2-1 checkout. This was against Josh Richardson. And one thing Scott did have, especially yesterday, Matt, was timing at the right times.
One other thing that he has is control. Control of his pace, control of the game. You saw in this 1-2-1 how he approaches the yoki at a certain pace. He'll collect his darts at a pace. He'll throw them at whatever pace he wants. He will control the pace of all of these matches tonight. And I think that could be a factor we talk about come the end.
So that is how we got to this point. These are the players that are going to be participating in tonight's final at the Live Lounge in Ports of Andy Bolton, Alexander Merckx, Stefan Bellman, Sebastian Białecki, Scott Mitchell and James Hurrell. For one, they are going to book a spot into Champions Week. So that is the finalists. This is how tonight is going to go, because the players are split up into a bracket draw now, 2 groups of 3. These are the groups on screen now, and we'll begin with Group 1. Andy Bolton, James Hurrell, Stefan Bellman. Matt, that is horrid.
Take your pick, really, I think, in terms of who's going to win that group. I think it's 2 from 3, we know that, but it could be any 2. I don't think there's going to be someone that I'll sit back at the end of that group and go, I'm surprised that player got through. I think it really is a take your pick, which is kind of how the groups ended as well in Group C and B.
Well, let's have a look again at Group 2. Scott Mitchell, Alexander Merckx, Sebastian Białecki. You've got players who have won things, big things on there. That winner's mentality could be huge.
It could be, and I want to go back to what Matt said about the pace of play. Białecki is a patient 19-year-old kid. He doesn't mind playing quick players or slower players, but Merckx wants to get on with it. And he's going to have to check himself tonight. He's going to have to be really patient, especially when he plays Mitchell. If Mitchell does dictate the pace and feels comfortable, it could be a great night for the farmer from Dorset.
So that is the groups. Let's see what the bookmakers think about tonight's action at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. This is the outright betting to go and get the job done and to qualify for Champions Week. And in a finals night field where things are so tight, the value could be in midfield, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think this is a real tight group and a real tight night that I don't really see there being a clear favourite. I think Andy Bolton probably is the favourite on the basis of what we've seen, not just this year, but last year as well, in terms of that standard just never wavers. But these nights aren't about having a consistent standard throughout. These are about finding that explosive level. We know he can do that, but at 7-4, I'm not so sure.
Alexander Merckx at 6-1, considering that he's been here, he's done it. He's got to a Champions Week final, let alone win a week here.
Yeah, don't underestimate someone who's done it before. But then again, sometimes ignorance is bliss. You want to just get up here and win. I think Hurrell is great value. I think the way he's played this week consistently over the last couple of days, he looked superb. And we know what he's done over the last few years. He's improved. So it's a really tight night, like Matt said, and it's a really tough one to call. But Merckx, do not underestimate him.
Well, let's have a look at the bet builder ahead of tonight's action at the Live Lounge here in Portsmouth. Now, this is a selection of bets that have been going through the markets and exchanges, and we put them together as a nice, handy little treble. It's 11.5 to 1, just over that this evening. James, I'll just get your thoughts on some of those picks tonight.
My first one is, if you are playing along at home, don't be jumping on these handicap markets. I'm very surprised to see anybody would be thinking that's a good choice, never mind to see it very top of our bet builder lists. I think the play here is more like the bottom one there, Beaumont and Bolton. In these overlegs, I don't see many of these games going 4-0, 4-1, so I would suggest in most matches look at that over 5.5.
That's a big punt, that. Especially with the first one. I don't agree with that one at all. I'm with Matt. I think the handicap betting tonight is something you should put to the side. I think a lot of these matches are going to be really tight. As far as minus 1.5 and minus 2.5s, I'm not so sure about those.
Well, remember, if you are going to have a punt on the Super Series tonight, it is 18+, and remember to begambleaware.org. Well, game one of our evening sees Andy Bolton in action. Well, we could have a Saturday night without a little bit of X Factor, could we now? He made it through Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively, and he is taking on the England captain, James Hurrell, in our first match of the evening session. And earlier on this evening, Phil Bars caught up with the X Factor.
Andy, here we are, finals night at the Super Series, back again, our Group A winner. How's the last couple of days been?
Yeah, very good actually. I'm kind of glad I had I'm glad at the moment I've had a couple of days off. Yeah, really chilled, nice time to relax. Took the mick with the sights and that, but actually it's a really nice place we're in here. Like a lot of, I brought the car down with me this time, so we've been able to go out and about, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it actually. Nice relaxing couple of days.
We saw you have Thursday off, but your social media yesterday back on the board just to have a little tick over?
Yeah, I found a nice little establishment to have a chuck. Just had a couple of hours on the board and just to keep it going. Didn't throw a dart on Thursday at all. Just to rest the old shoulder a little bit, and everything feels good. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
How is the little niggle in the shoulder?
Yeah, well, hopefully it's all right. Yeah, I think it's definitely helped me. I was starting to struggle a bit on Wednesday, and last time I thought it would be better for me to have the 2 days off. But actually playing, I think last time didn't do me much. I think, but last time because I was in the night session on the Thursday, I had a long break from the Wednesday, so I think that kind of helped a little bit. But yeah, fingers crossed, everything's all right, and I've played with it for a long time. I know what to do when it niggles, so you just have to get on with it, and it is what it is, kind of thing.
You've been here before on finals night. It took a special performance to beat you. One better this time around?
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping there's no Scott Taylor this time, but I'm totally aware there's certainly 2 or 3 players in that back room that are capable of one of them performances. I think, with no disrespect to the lads last time around, but I do think this is a very tough finals night. I think whoever wins is gonna play well, but I know if I'm confident in my own game, and if that's good enough on the night, then it'll be good enough. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to having a really good game, and I don't think there's going to be many bad games tonight.
Andy, wish you all the very best this evening.
Cheers, Phil. Thanks very much.
It is an Anglo-Scottish affair to kick off the evening's action here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth as Andy Bolton takes on James Howell in our opening match of the evening. Describing all of the action in the commentary box, it's a very good evening to Matthew Edgar and Paul Nicholson.
A very good evening, Henry, and welcome everybody to Week 7 finals night. This is heavyweight stuff. We always have a great time on a Saturday night, but when you look at the lineup that we've got here for you here, this promises much. You've got Scotland's Andy Bolton up against England's captain, the 38-year-old from Gloucestershire. He's played some superb stuff over the last couple of days. A couple of days where Andy Bolton has had a rest.
It's Andy to throw first. Game on.
Owen Binks is your referee for tonight. I'm sitting alongside Matthew Edgar for this. And Matt, has to be said, Andy's the favourite with the bookmakers, but anybody could win tonight.
100.
This is a really big quality finals night.
Absolutely. You say that they've been playing well this week, but it's not just about playing well this week. They've been playing well all season. James Hurrell, right at the top of the Challenge Tour averages for the season. Which when you look at that's basically all the top players that don't have a tour card battling out in those Challenge Tour events, trying to win a tour card or get those Pro Tour invites, which is where Andy Bolton has been this year. He's been getting plenty of call-ups to the PDC Pro Tour. He's been making good waves on there. He reached that last 16 not too long ago. And listen to the names that he has beaten this year. Simon Whitlock, Joe Cullen, Chris Dobie, and possibly one of the most informed players on planet Earth right now, Gary Anderson.
59.
Just to emphasise that point as well, he talked about the Challenge Tour, the second tier system in the PDC. Both playing it this year, and half of our field tonight in the top 10 in the averages. And you might wonder, how many players are we talking about? 439. And we've got 3 of the top 10
60
in performance metrics. So there you go.
But they are prone still to a couple of mistakes. That last start there from James Hurrell, staying on the 20s, has left him a bogey number. A switch down to the 19s would have been more profitable. And maybe
60.
This is
and he
the
required
reason why he's on that Challenge
142.
Tour, not the Pro Tour, because we know he's got the level in terms of the ability, but maybe not quite playing the percentages correctly.
58.
If this is your
James
first time
require
tuning in
106.
to Saturday night and you're not sure about the intricacies of the two groups of players that we have, we will explain it at the beginning of leg 2 because we want to give James a chance to have another look at tops.
Game
His
shown the
first
first
look
leg.
at his favourite double
James Hurrell.
tonight is right on point. And I don't think we've had a better
Second against
shooter
James
double
to throw
top all
first.
week long.
Game on.
Two groups of players, 3 players in each group, 2 games per player. You win them both, you win the group, you go to the semi-finals. If you don't,
59.
we have a little league table to see who goes through. 2 from 3 into the semis, and then one person is eliminated. They go away. Then we have a
59.
knockout from 10 o'clock. And the winner of the night goes to the Champions Week at the end of July.
I've got to pick up on something Andy Bolton said when he said that this is a
129.
strong lineup here for finals night. I just picture him sat in the practice room at the table, and you always just have a little look around the room and go, who do I need to beat?
97.
Who, if I beat them, do I feel I'm going to go on and win this? And then one by one they'd have came through the door and he'd have been, I've got to beat him. Next player comes in. No, actually it's him. Oh, no, it's him. It's one of those sort of nights where I think any of the 6 wouldn't be a surprise.
140.
And don't forget, there is a possibility that you could play someone twice tonight. This could be the final later. Because if they both go through their group, they will be in different semi-finals
100.
and could meet in that climax at around 11 p.m. Over the last couple of days, Hurrell has averaged 92.17 and hit 16 maximums.
38.
He's been excellent. A win rate of 70% this week. But the man with the best win percentage of the week is his opponent. But get
James
this.
require
Do you like stats?
135.
You're going to love this one. For the week, their average is identical. 92.17, the two of them. That doesn't happen very often.
70.
And just to put
And he
that into
require
context, if that was on the
145.
PDC Pro Tour, they would be ranked number 57 in terms of the averages. So well and truly in the top half of the elite of the sport with those sort of stats.
We're not surprised
59.
to see
James
them
requires
playing at that level.
65.
Hurrell could have a double chance and does get a double chance. Double 10.
55. And he require 86.
Bolton this week on doubles has been very reliable.
Game
A
shown the
wonderful
second
bounce
leg.
off the marker.
Andy Bolton.
And this one starts in the kind of vein that I expected.
Fella gets Andy to throw first. Game
A
on.
rare miss, though, there for James Hurrell on tops. I don't expect to see that too often throughout the night. He's been very solid at that area of the board. But Andy Bolton, you give him an
100.
opportunity, ultimately he takes it. We expect that he'll be able to sustain a 90 average pretty much all. If Andy Bolton was to do a 24-hour dartathon, I would say he'd
100.
average 90. If he was to play here all week, I'd say he'd average about 90. If you look at his season stats, I'd say it'll be about 90. Do you get the theme?
That's what he does.
140.
Remarkably consistent. And he's going to play in game 1 and game 5, where Stefan Belmont will be waiting for him. Bolton has the darts in the first match of the night, courtesy of winning Group A.
41.
Hurrell is in this position because he was second in Group C behind Scott Mitchell, who was in the other group with Białecki and Mertz.
44.
Each group has 3 different nations in it. Really good sign. I'm going to use your phrase. In fact, why don't you finish the sentence?
140.
Where worlds
Well, the Super Series is where worlds collide, isn't it? When you look at the lineups we've had, we're talking about the players here being at the very top of that Challenge Tour, but we've had players from the top of ADC Europe this week, from the ADC. In the past, we've had players from the top area of the Seniors Tour.
We've got a crowd in tonight as well. Lots of family and friends of these players.
140, and he reckon 117.
And some familiar faces as well. A little bit of a Dwayne
81.
Johnson eyebrow raise
James
there.
require 80.
But another chance for Hurrell. He's had darts at double in every leg so far and should get a shot here as well in leg 3.
I can certainly smell what you're cooking. And it's tops. Something I said was a rare miss
60.
last time.
And he require 36.
Missed it again. Mini opportunity there to get the breaker throw back once again. Andy Bolton looking to get the first hold in
Game
this
shot on the
one.
third leg. Andy Bolton.
Back-to-back legs for Andy Bolton. James Hurrell has had darts in every one of these so far.
James to throw first.
But
Game
the
on.
opportunities are limited. That, I expect, will be the story of the night.
There is a magic formula to getting through the group. If you can bag 2 points and your leg difference is
41.
in a positive, say +1 or +2 or better, at the culmination of your 2 games, you are safe. But ideally, tonight is all about winning
83.
4 games of darts. That's it. Some people are used to playing 4 games in a campaign. You talk about the guys in Group B over the last couple of nights.
140.
Are used to playing 5 games per day. Because it was 1 group for Bolton, it was 1 group for Hurrell, and they were all earlier
57.
starts where they had 5 games in their daily campaigns.
The other thing to make a note of is the games will grow with levels of importance match by match. And the reason for that is because
100.
the prize money will grow. When you get out your group, you get more prize money. You win the semi-final, it's more prize money. You win the final, you get the big jump in prize money and also a golden ticket
140.
through to Champions Week.
Let's not forget as well, if the 3 players in the group can't be separated on points and leg difference in legs 1, a magical 9-dart shootout could happen. We've had a couple of them over the last year or so. We could test your Super Series knowledge right now. Can you remember who won them both?
140.
Do love a 9-dart shootout, and do believe one of them was actually
60.
won by one of our
James, you require
colleagues, Chris
80.
Mason.
Indeed. And congratulations to Chris, who won his Seniors Masters game today against Trina Gulliver.
60.
And Hurrell
And he require
is continuing the
161.
trend of getting a shot for the leg every time. And he's going to come back this time.
47. James, you require 20.
But he will get 3 darts this time. He has been getting darts, but they've just been 1 dart at the end of a combination. This is the first time he's coming with 3 in hand. But it's going to be the same result.
He was caught in 2
No
minds there.
score.
He looked at Andy's score
And he require
before he went for the double
114.
5.
He knows Andy's very capable of taking a shot like this. He only needs the 1 treble, which he's found. Tops.
74.
Such a friend for James Hurrell.
James, you require
almost
20.
his kryptonite.
I think he did the right thing in the previous visit in busting the score. Can he get it right this time?
Game shot
Yes,
on the
he can.
4th leg. James
2-2.
Hurrell.
The closer this game is, the more intricate this group could get.
5th leg, it's Andy to throw first.
I
Game
think
on.
it's fair to say that in Group 1, Bolton and Hurrell will be favoured, even though Stefan Belmont on Thursday had an undefeated Group B
100.
campaign, winning 4 from 4. Because the levels they've attained this week, average-wise, doubles-wise in percentage, and their overall win ratio, they are better
57.
than Stefan Belmont. So maybe he's the one under pressure. Or maybe, if you look at it a slightly different way,
140.
he's the one who can come to the Oki tonight and say, well, you are the guys who are expected. You've got the big reputation. I'll just plod along and see if I can take you out.
I think we can throw context on every player, though, as well, when you say about reputation.
140.
I think every player in this lineup, we can find an argument or a reason to actually put them forward for why they would be the man to go on to win this group.
140.
One of the surprising things so far is that we haven't had a maximum yet. We've had a lot of maximums this week. Some great daily campaigns. Tuesday we had 41. Thursday in Group C we had 43. And as if by magic,
180 and 121.
Hillbilly Hurrell gives us our first of the night. If he can take out that 1-2-4 for a
James, you
big
require
300 plus
124.
point 6-dart conversion, he will be the favourite to win this game.
He won't get a dart to do it on this occasion, so he's
58.
going to have to
And he
rely
requires
on
68.
Bolton missing, which the evidence, not just of this week, but this year, suggests that's not a very good plan.
Game shot on
That's
the
a good
fifth
plan.
leg.
That's
Andy
a 15
Bolton.
darter from Andy to take him to 3 legs. He now needs 1, whereas Hurrell needs 2 to end this first game of the night
Safe
with a
leg
win.
is James to throw first.
And 180
Game on.
is a really good topic for Hurrell because he's played 10 games coming into Saturday, and he's played 15. Hurrell's had 16 maximums prior to his first tonight. Bolton got
100.
12. So he's more likely to get maximums than Andy. It's probably something to do with the slightly wider barrels that Andy uses.
100.
One thing you will get from Andy is a consistent attack. Just sort of, if he was a boxer, he'd just always be landing jabs on
134.
you all the time and picking up the points.
I'm not sure I'd want to get a jab from Andy Bolton. He's a fairly solid unit.
96.
You can tell what someone's made of by the firmness of their handshake. Forgot to tell you this, Matt, but I actually shook hands with Dennis Nielsen last week.
100.
My hand felt like it was about half the size afterwards. Like shaking hands with Thanos. Doesn't get to
94.
the finish, so
James, you
Hurrell
reckon
should take
167.
us to leg 7 in our first game of the night.
What did we say on the
57.
stage before the start of the show? We said expect the games to go tight. Stay off those handicap markets and look at those sort of tight games. I think this is going to be the theme of this entire group going through to the
James, you reckon
semi-finals.
110.
Yeah, you've got full agreement from me on that one. If you are having a flutter tonight, please gamble responsibly. 18s over and begambleaware.org for more information. It's tops for Hurrell. And he's got
80.
the wrong bed. So Bolton
And he
has a
requires
chance
74.
to get himself in front in the group with 2 points and +2 in leg difference. He doesn't mess
Game
around.
shot on the
A
match.
wonderful 14
Andy
darter from your
Bolton.
Group A winner. And Hurrell has got work to do when he comes back in Game 3 when he takes on Stefan Belmont. On the bright side, he has got a game under his belt and he could possibly put right what went wrong there, which was the doubles, missing 9 of them in total. When we come back, it will be the start of Group 2.
Welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth, where Andy Bolton has just got the better of James Hubble by 4 legs to 2 to kick off his Group 1 campaign. Next up, we're going to kick things off in Group 2, where we're going to see Alexander Merckx, a man who's already made it to Champions Week before, take on Sebastian Białecki. It's a battle of the Netherlands and Poland, being watched by Matt and Paul.
Thank you, Henry. And this time it's Group 2. So what are we going to see from this young man tonight? He's playing in his 6th day of the week. He's had a very long campaign. After starting
First
on
leg, it's
Monday morning,
Alexander to throw first. Game on.
everything is built up to this. I'm sure he's got plenty of energy. He's young. He's hungry.
45.
He's looking for his very first MODUS Super Series weekly title. But Alexander the Great, his opponent, he's the only person here tonight who's done it before.
59.
That was back in Series 2 in the 2nd week of that campaign. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But you and I got here something in the region of 5:10 this evening, well in advance of the start.
96.
Merckx was already here.
What we've been speaking about, though, throughout the week when Alexander Merckx has been playing is that
42.
rhythm, consistency, pace, ultimately, feel. And for him to get to the point where he feels confident, he's going to have to feel the weight of the dart. And you're certainly
60.
not going to get that if you're standing on the board with 3 other players. So I absolutely love that play by him. Get here, get the board to yourself,
45.
get the feel and the weight of the dart, then you can practice with other people on the board. It is exactly what you should be doing as someone who relies on rhythm.
Do you know who used to be the one person who would talk about that the
100.
most in an earlier part of his career? And he still does it now to a certain extent.
59.
Certain snakebite Peter Wright. He always used to go to a venue early because he wanted a board to himself for about 20 to 30 minutes just to work on his own stuff before anybody could get in the way.
97.
You might be curious, actually, as to what the practice room is like here. There are 2 practice boards.
55. Sebastian, you require
Plenty of
89.
space for the players to relax as well and get themselves ready. Białecki could have first blood on the ball.
64. Alexander, you require 155.
Alexander is a long way back here, but Białecki knows he's capable of doing so, which is why he went for the ball.
117. Sebastian,
And
you
it
require
was a
25.
dart. And the double 19, that would have got him going. But this leg might be going the way of
Game on the
Sebastian
first
Białecki.
leg. Sebastian
Just like in our
Białecki.
opening game, it's a breaker throw, the earliest possibility.
Alex mixes a
Second
This is
against
a chance at a
Sebastian to throw
155,
first.
which would have
Game
been his
on.
biggest finish of the week. 1-2-1, his best effort over the last couple of days. But if you haven't joined us for the whole week, you might think that was a regulation 25 out for Sebastian.
125.
The first 3 days of the week. In fact, it was the first
140.
2 and a bit days. He spent a lot of time on double 16 and double 8. On shots like 25 and leaving 32 on the end of combinations. And he found himself missing it left a lot.
60.
I said on commentary with Henry that maybe a change of plan because of the way his
57.
darts sit in the board, maybe he would get more chances if he went for tops and tens. Whether he listened to me or not is irrelevant. He changed the
100.
plan, and since then his doubles have been much better.
140.
Overall for the week, it can't be ignored. of the 6 finalists, he has the worst doubles percentage of everyone. And maybe that's got something to do with the first couple of days.
164.
Or indeed some of the times that he missed doubles in Group B over the last couple of days.
60. Sebastian Require 158.
Started with limited trouble on the doubles here. The trouble in this leg is getting down to them. Making a bit of a mess of the 158.
30.
Finding
Alexander
no trouble
Require
with the last one.
104.
Really opens the door for Alexander Merckx to continue the pattern like we saw in the first game, repeating itself in the second.
86. Sebastian Require 128.
This isn't a nice shot, because you tend to find you need a treble with the second dart regardless, and with a dart like that with the first one, doesn't matter if he gets it, he's not going to get a shot.
81.
It's all
Sebastian Require.
over to Merckx.
Alexander Require 18.
2 8s.
No score.
And he gets the wrong bed.
Sebastian Require 47.
Hurrell hit 5s going for tops in the previous game. Merckx has done
Game
almost the
on the
same, and
second
Białecki
leg.
takes full
Sebastian
advantage.
Białecki.
The last 2 days, we've seen someone in Stefan Belmont take full
Delegates
advantage of
Alexander
people
to throw
missing
first.
darts at double
Game
against him. It could be the key to tonight as well. If you don't put someone away,
45.
you might pay the price.
One thing we know is Alexander Merckx has got not only the capabilities to turn this around, but that
46.
can also be emphasised by a couple of WDF ranking titles that he picked up last year. Now, these aren't easy to win. A lot of the times they are played
100.
under short format conditions over long periods of time. 10, 11, 12 hours at times. Short format games where you'll be sat down for periods of time and then you need to
81.
find peak performance or short bursts. And these very similar short races, so
100.
he will have plenty of positive experience to be able to believe he can turn this around.
This is such a beautiful throw, isn't it? Look at that extension of that right arm. You don't find
100.
a better follow-through in world darts than that. But this is very rigid. Definitive points where he's
60.
happy to stop, to draw the dart back with a very short drawback, and then that forceful follow-through. But this is a bit more fluent.
133.
Got to put a hole in this. Otherwise,
96.
Might be in a bit of
Sebastian
bother.
Require 141.
biggest finish of the week for Białecki, 120, and he's hit it twice. What a time this would be.
Yeah.
For a second, he thought that was good.
85. Alexander
Confirmation from
Require
Owen
100.
that it was not there. Is this.
46.
In tennis,
Sebastian
the
Require
umpire would say
56.
right now, advantage Białecki.
In boxing, they might be throwing in the towel if this double tops goes in. Down to the 10s.
36.
That
Alexander Require 54.
could be a moment this game starts to turn.
Missed a fair few darts already, but he
Games
doesn't
on the
miss that
third
one.
leg. Alexander Merckx.
That's interesting. Because I think you're right, Matt. He misses that. Białecki hits 3-0.
Four-legged Sebastian to throw first.
And all
Game
of a
on.
sudden, you think Białecki is very close to qualification already. However, look at the stats in this game. They tell me
61.
a story of 2 players who are a little bit edgy at the start of tonight. Even with the experience of winning on the Saturday night here before,
140.
Merckx is nowhere near what he's done this week. He's averaged over 91 for the week. Białecki close to 89.
125.
You mentioned about potential ceilings. Sebastian Białecki,
97.
quarter-finalist at the UK Open in 2022. That is a PDC ranked major event. Quarter-finalist. On top of that,
125.
he's won 2 development tour titles and a challenge tour.
He's also won in Denmark
60.
on the WDF circuit as well, which has got him a Lakeside ticket for later this year. He's got a long road ahead of him.
70.
He is classified as a professional dart player because he doesn't do anything else. But he's very patient.
81.
He doesn't want
Sebastian
everything
Require,
right now. He wants to
120.
build a reputation and build experience before he hits the big time.
Which for Sebastian,
80.
you say
Alexander Require,
when
123.
rather than if.
Alexander is not going to say when on the 1, 2, 3. He's annoyed.
77.
Maybe something happened
Sebastian, you require 40.
on that second dart. Could cost him as well. Double 5.
Game
And
show on the
Białecki does
fourth
it on the
leg.
third dart, which makes
Sebastian
Alexander feel
Białecki.
even worse.
Fifth leg is Alexander
Cool as
to
a
throw
cucumber,
first. Game
taking
on.
a sip of water. And Białecki of Poland, a nation that is really starting to make waves
80.
in world darts. Last week, Poland set a world record for pairs darts in PDC with Krzysztof Kachuk and Krzysztof Ratajski.
I think they set a record as well in
180.
terms of sales for tickets when Poland was announced as having its own World Series event.
40.
Oh, that was an impetuous visit, wasn't it? Is he boiling under that Alexander the Great shirt? He must stay focused.
95.
You mentioned he was in here from just gone 5 o'clock.
100.
He's probably in that practice room hitting absolutely everything. He's gone up there. It's not quite happening. And that's where that frustration's probably coming from. Is why isn't it transferring from one board to the other?
140.
Sometimes that can happen. But if he loses this game 4-1, Matt, in order for him to qualify, he's going to have to beat Scott Mitchell 4-0.
140. Sebastian, you require 86.
Staying on the 18s for the bull shot and the win.
61. Alexander require 141.
Will Białecki go for the 5 again?
Sebastian,
Like
you
he
require
did earlier in
25.
this game. He's looking north, and now he's looking at 10s. He
Game
wins.
shot and the
And it's a
match.
great start to
Sebastian
Group 2
Białecki.
for Sebastian Białecki. He gets the 2 points, and he gets a leg difference of +3 as well. He won't care that he only averaged 82, but ultimately he was better than his opponent, and he is 1 win away from winning Group 2 here tonight in Week 7 finals. We'll go back to Group 1, and it will be Stefan Belmont against James Hurrell when we return.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Sebastian Białecki get the better of Alexander Merckx by 4 legs to 1 in our second game of the day. It's middle match time as far as Group 1 is concerned. It sees Stefan Bellman in action up against James Hull. A win for Bellman, he'll send himself and Andy Bolton into the knockout stages. If James Hull can win 4 or better, he'll go through. Anything else, then it'll go down to the last game. So let's get to the commentary then, and to Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome to Switzerland's Stefan Belmont to day 6 of his campaign, just like Sebastian Białecki, who got his finals night campaign off to a flying start with a 4-1 win over Alexander Merckx just now. But this is the 34-year-old winner of a Challenge Tour event and nicknamed Belly. Is Belly going to get you tonight? It would be huge for Swiss darts.
First leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
If he was to win this game and to make the semi-finals. We did have another Swiss player in this week